Wow. Okay, so you heard something not usual on this platform, and I want to give you the profile of the person who is displaying his skills on the flute. And his name is Nii Alabi Bortey. Nii Alabi Bortey. He is the founder of the sensational Swade, or maybe Swade, cultural troupe, home to many of Ghana's creative talent in traditional drumming, dancing, and music. He is also a teacher whose works and endeavors need recognition and applause. He was the first flutist to be elected to represent Ghana at the World Youth Musical Festival in Moscow, Russia in 1985. 1985. I was just 5 years then. In September 2011, he was at the Awesome Africa Music Festival in South Africa, where he performed at the World Conference Against Racism, sharing the same platform with international musicians like Salif Keita, etc. Now, on the local front, he has performed with and shared the same stage with the likes of Osibisa, Bibi Brew, and Amanziba Brew, etc. Nii Alabi's musical prowess on the Atentenben is unquestionable. He is a sought-after artist of the local Dirge who has been performing on national platforms at state funerals and events. Nevertheless, the event of mourning was not lost on patrons as Nii Alabi Bortey, with his over 30 years married to the flute Atentenben, played tunes from popular Ghanaian Dirges in between performances.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we would want to acknowledge the presence and arrival of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the incoming President of the Republic of Ghana, together with our mother and First Lady Lordina Mahama, and our dynamic running mate, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. You are very welcome, sirs. We have a short dirge by Nii Alabi Bortey. Nii Alabi Bortey, wherever you are, come and give us the dirge.
Thank you. Indeed, heaven knows when we will get there, and surely we shall get there. I would like to acknowledge the presence of the following individuals. Air Marshal Michael Sampson Ojay, the former Chief of the Defense Staff. Air Vice Marshal Kadri, former Commandant, Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College. Air Vice Marshal Frank Bequin, Air Officer Special Duties, Jubilee House. Air Vice Marshal Dovlo, former Commandant, Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. Major General Francis Ofori, the current Commandant of the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. We also have Colonel Agbotui, retired, the head of family. We have Ambassador Victor Beho. Also in our midst is Honorable Ofosu Ampofo, the National Chairman of the National Democratic Congress.
the widows, the children, and National Democratic Congress should get ready to read the tributes.
Your Excellency the President, this is the biography of the late Honorable Evangelist Dr. Atentenben, Captain of Israel's host and guide, of all who seek the land above. Beneath thy shadow we abide. The cloud of thy protecting love, our strength, thy grace, our rule, thy word, our end, the glory of the Lord. Methodist Hymn Book 98, first stanza. The Honorable Evangelist Dr. Atentenben, also known as E.T. Mensah, as he is popularly known, was born into the royal clan of Clay Abodo Pram on the 17th day of May 1946 in Koforidua in the eastern region of Ghana, where his parents have sojourned for work. His parents were Mr. Emmanuel Mensah, also known as E.T. Mensah Sr., or Nietzsche Goldsmith, a goldsmith of high repute, and Madame Lisbeth Nati, a draper of blessed memory, both from Afutuwim and Ajokawim of Clay Abodo clan of Pram in the greater Accra region of the Republic of Ghana. Early years of
Theresa, or Abba, as she was fondly called, was the seventh of 10 children born to the couple who survived into adulthood. The family settled in a large house in a Dum business district of Kumasi. They spoke Fanti at home and were devout Catholics. The family was close-knit, so she grew up supported and surrounded by love. The region. During the holidays, she and some of her siblings would visit their eldest sister, Grace Quist-Acton, a senior educationist who lived in Tamale with her husband, Edward Quist-Acton. Theresa had a ear for languages and learned Ewe and Hausa, in addition to the Twi, Fanti, and English that she spoke flawlessly.
Mrs. Rebecca Akufu-Addo to give us the tribute by the state.
Government of Ghana tribute to the late Mrs. Teresa Kufuor. The late Mrs. Teresa Kufuor, whose maiden name was Teresa Mensah, was born on 25th October 1935 to Mr. and Mrs. Samuel Kwabena Mensah at Wenchi in the Brong-Ahafo region, now the Bono region. Her father was an accomplished businessman who owned a number of retail shops, whilst her mother was a homemaker. The late Mrs. Kufuor is known, among other things, for her expertise in nursing management and administration. Education was indispensable in her journey to become a great asset in the field of nursing, specifically midwifery. She started her education at the Catholic convent, Our Lady of Assumption, Ola, at the Keta in the Volta region, which enabled her to become fluent in Ewe. She later studied in Edinburgh, Scotland, as a registered general nurse in the Southern Hospital Group of Nursing. As a go-getter and someone full of passion for the nursing profession, Mrs. Kufuor pursued further studies at Radcliffe Infirmary in Oxford and the Paddington General Hospital in London, becoming a state-certified midwife with a certificate in premature nursing. With a demonstrated high level of knowledge, hard work, commitment, and passion, the late Mrs. Kufuor rose through the ranks of her profession.
We now invite the tribute by the husband, His Excellency, former President of Ghana, John Agyekum Kufuor.
A tribute by His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor to his beloved wife Abba. Who can find a virtuous wife? For her worth is far above rubies. The heart of her husband safely trusts her. Proverbs 31, verse 10 and 11. Shortly after what I now perceive as a clearly foreordained introduction by our mutual friend Dr. Kwame Appiah-Poku, Abba and I met in person on 1st July 1961 at a ball at Battersea Town Hall in London to celebrate Ghana's first anniversary as a republic.
Nii Alabi Bortey, he needs no introduction at this time. He's seen it all. He's been to South, he's been to Zimbabwe, he's gone to Russia. He does the dirges. After Ifrimamu, he did the next dirge. Later on, when Chairman is being ushered into this place, he'll play again to herald the pallbearers, to bring our old boy, to bring the great statesman. Nii Alabi Bortey, J. Bomokonu Wolele ni Mandela, JJ, all the senior leaders, Konupa Ekpana, Lecture Atentenben, Iba Oshabe, Konika Mewo, Ame Awodu. Nii Bortey, Openo Wawe. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.